I'm an 18-year-old female and I just graduated from high school. During the time in which this takes place, I was still in the middle of my senior year. I have two jobs, both of which I worked throughout my senior year. I work a few shifts a week in an emergency room, but my main job is at the local, well-known movie theater a few minutes away from the hospital I work at. The hospital shifts are usually day shifts or graveyard shifts, whereas the theater shifts are usually early evening to midnight or 1 in the morning. On this particular day, it was in the middle of winter in 2015, the day before New Year's to be precise, so I had been called into the hospital due to the vast amount of alcohol-induced accidents and injuries. One involved alcohol and a bottle rocket. Several people had come in with the injured patient, so I was attempting to corral them all and trade out visitors, as only 3 or 4 visitors are allowed at a time in the ER rooms. One of the people who visited was a guy maybe in his 30s and was drunk as ever. He was always staring at me and always trying to touch me, whether it be my arm, my hand, or my shoulder. Creepy, but I've had worse. It didn't alarm me much. As my shift ended in a few minutes, I simply let security know to keep an eye on him and left. I worked at the theater that night as well, so I left the hospital and went straight to the theater to change and get clocked in on time. I went into one of the restrooms at the theater to get changed, and when I was finished, I felt a sudden, sharp pain on the back of my hand. I looked down and saw a spider. Now, I'm highly allergic to spiders if bitten, and I get extremely ill. I have even had to be hospitalized a couple of times. I was given emergency allergy shots due to this. When I got the job at the theater, I immediately let management know of this and they wanted to keep a couple of shots in the office in case it ever happened while I was working. I went to James, one of the 2 managers working that night, and he immediately took me into the office and saw that I medicated myself, and he bandaged my hand up. I then clocked in and got to work. These allergy shots make me pretty drowsy and sometimes make me sick to my stomach. Sorry for the lengthy backstory, but it'll help understand my state of mind when it gets to it. I started my late shift, which was due to Star Wars still being popular, 6 p.m. to 12:30 a.m. without a problem. I had to start a little late because of the spider incident, though about 15 minutes later, the shot had kicked in and I became groggy and felt sick to my stomach. My thoughts were jumbled and I wasn't paying too much attention to my surroundings as I normally did. I was on the concession stand that night working as a concessionist, which meant that I would be selling and serving popcorn, drinks, candy, etc. We were short-staffed that night, so the staff included the 2 managers, James and Laura, 2 concessionists, Kurt, and myself, a kitchen person, Clara, the usher, Eli, and another girl out in box office who was also tearing tickets. Just as 10 o'clock rolls around and I am feeling really crummy, like I would be sick at any time. I happened to be alone on stand because Kurt and Claire were assisting Eli with cleaning a couple of theaters that had been let out, and James and Laura were called to a different theater for a domestic disturbance, for which the police had to be called and James had to physically remove a belligerent drunken man from the theater and restrain him until the police arrived. James had just wrestled this guy out of the back door of the theater, with Laura close behind escorting the female when someone walked into the theater. Well, staggered in more like. I'm trying to start closing down the stand, but stop and stand at my register when he finds his way up to stand. He absolutely reeks of alcohol and there is even a flask poking out of his jacket pocket. In my state of mind, I vaguely feel like I know this man from somewhere, but push that thought to the back of my mind when he orders a large popcorn and a large Coke. Never once did he look at the menu. All while he was ordering, he is looking at me. Not just looking at me, boring into my soul. I try to push away the serious creeper vibes this guy is giving off and get his things. I place them on the counter and tell him what he owes. He handed over his card and the following conversation ensues. "I saw you today. Do you not remember me?" His words are slurred, and it takes me a moment to piece together what he said to me. Do you have me mistaken for someone else, sir?" "No, I was in the ER this afternoon with my friend. You helped us." It then dawned on me why I felt I knew this man. He was the creep from my shift at the ER earlier that day. "Oh, yes, I remember now," I said uneasily as I swiped his card. "So what time do you get off?" I'm not at liberty to say, sir," I said uneasy as I gave him back his card. "Aw, come on, what time are you off? I'll take you out or something." "No, sir, thank you, but I'm not interested." My hand had been lying on the counter beside my register. He suddenly grabbed it and held it down on the counter, not too gently, and said, "It's okay, you're working late tonight. I can tell, but don't worry, I'll be there for you when you get off." He then released my hand, grabbed his things, and staggered off to his theater. I should have radioed for a manager right then and there, but in my state of mind, I just wanted to get the job done and get home. I didn't fully comprehend the severity of the danger I had put myself in until later. 11:45 rolls around and Kurt and Claire and I are nearly finished shutting down the concession stand. I suddenly had to run to the back and just barely made it to one of the bins in the back in time to get sick. James happened to be walking out of the office at that time and saw me getting sick. He made sure I was alright and then radioed Laura to ask that she pull my cash drawer first and count me down so that I might be able to go home early. Laura was filling out paperwork due to the incident earlier that evening when the police had to be called. So, until Laura could count my down, James had me sit in the back kitchen with him, where he was counting products so he could keep an eye on me. We were making small talk and, for some reason or another, we started talking about alcohol. That reminded me of the drunk creep. I mentioned something about it to James. He suddenly stopped counting and knelt down in front of me in a flash, demanding to know the full story. Once I recounted the events of that evening and those of the hospital, it only then hit me on how potentially dangerous this situation could be, especially had I not said anything to James. He then immediately told me that he would escort me out to my vehicle as soon as Laura had counted my down and got clocked out. I was used to this, as this wasn't the first time a creeper had creeped on me or another coworker, and James had escorted us out, but those are stories for another time. All employees wear radios with earpieces in case we need to radio a manager for assistance or vice versa. I hadn't taken mine off yet and jumped a little when Laura's voice suddenly crackled to life in my ear. "James?" Her voice sounded wary. "Go ahead," he replied. "Do you know who or why there's a man hanging around the back entrance to the building? There's no reason for him to be out there, and I noticed him about 10 minutes ago on the camera, and he's been out there since." My heart dropped to my stomach and I said something very loudly, which may or may not have included an explanation or two. James immediately ran out the back door just as Laura came out of the office and went after James. They came back a few minutes later. Laura was looking slightly worried and James was out of breath. "He ran off. He's on something. More than alcohol. Man, he was fast," James said in between breaths. Laura took my drawer and counted me down, and James walked me all the way out to my car as soon as I clocked out. When I returned the next day, James said that he and Laura didn't see the man again that night, nor have I seen him since, nor do I want to. So this may be a little long, but I promise I'll try to get to the point. There is a little background I need you to hear to paint the picture. I'm 21 years old, female, and my name is Shauna. I grew up in a little town in Boston, Massachusetts. Back in my hometown, having maybe 3,000 people, everyone knew everyone and nobody locked their doors because of the no crime to little petty crime there was. And I just moved to Las Vegas, Nevada with my family. I live with my mom, dad, 2 sisters, and my 2 dogs. I just moved here 3 weeks ago. I am a huge zombie fan and doomsday prepper, so I have a collection of knives and machetes on my wall. In my new house, me and my sister's rooms were all on the upstairs in one corner. My parents' room is right across next to the stairs. Once you go downstairs, you're right in front of the front door. Past the front door is the living room and then my kitchen with a sliding glass door to my backyard. My dogs are usually outside but have not learned how to use the dog door yet. My dogs do not like anybody they don't know. All of this is important. Now, let's get to what happened. I was still behind on unpacking, so I was in my room trying to figure out where to put all my stuff. My older sister started college and was on a softball team, and she had a game that Saturday night. I hear my mother come upstairs and she knocks on my door. "Hey, you want to take a break and come to Alex's game tonight?" No, I'm okay. I'm gonna continue unpacking. Maybe take a nap. How long will you guys be? Is everyone going? Yes, we are all going, and maybe 2 hours tops. Will you be okay? Yeah, I'll be fine. Remember to let the dogs out and call if you need anything. My mom leaves and I hear them drive off in the car. I am now home alone, but I don't think much of it since I'm 21 years old and can handle myself. I really had no idea how much I was going to put that to the test this Saturday night. I walked downstairs to get something to drink and let my dogs out, then walk back up to my room and lock my bedroom door. I lay in bed and I guess I fall asleep. I maybe was asleep for an hour when I heard my front door open. I figured my parents came home earlier, maybe my little sister, so I thought nothing of it and went back to sleep. But then, my doorknob to my room started to jiggle. I bolted straight up. Then in a soft voice I hear what sounded like a female said, "Shit, it's locked. Why would it be locked?" "I don't know, who gives a fuck? Let's try this other one." I froze. I nearly shit my pants. I just moved here, so I have no friends and there shouldn't be anyone in my house besides my family. As I said earlier about my knife collection, I went and grabbed my biggest machete and walked to my door quietly unlocking it. I hear my parents' room being opened. I take a quick peek and try to size up my opponents. There was a man, maybe 5'11", 150 pounds, and a female, maybe 5'5" and 125 pounds, and both had bags and were wearing all black. So I ran to the bathroom next to my room and yell out, "I have a machete," and called the police. "You better run." Thinking back, that sounded so stupid. I'm only 5'4" and 125 pounds. Very, very stupid. And I hear back, "Aw, that's cute, Ryan. The girl has a machete. What should we do with her? Take her with us?" I wasn't having it. Not in my own goddamn home. I apparently grew some balls. Rather than scared, I was furious to hear that. No fucking way. I got so mad I yelled back something so stupid. I'm still mad I said it. "You are not going to do shit with me, you stupid assholes. Get the fuck out of my house before I fuck you up." Ugh, so stupid to say. And then I ran downstairs, turning all the lights on as I hear them following me down the same stairs after me. As I round the corner by the front door, the girl grabs my arm and yanks me back to the ground while trying to hold my hands behind my back as the guy tries to tie my hand with a rope from his bag. But I guess they forgot I had the big-ass machete, and I broke free of the girl's hands and cut the guy's forearm. Blood went everywhere. As he started screaming, clutching his arm, I kicked the girl in the stomach and started to run for my back door to let my mean-ass dogs in. But as I was jumping over the child gate we have to keep my dogs in the kitchen, the girl grabbed my leg, which causes both of us to tumble to the floor into the kitchen, and my machete skids across the floor. Feeling completely helpless, I just start throwing punches, trying to do everything to get this disgusting BO-smelling girl off of me. She gets the upper hand and puts her hands around my neck and starts squeezing, and I just knew right then and there I was dead. I'm crying and screaming, looking for anything to stab her with. I'm completely filled with dread, but all of a sudden, the most beautiful sound comes and I start crying tears of joy, even though I cannot breathe and I'm about to pass out from lack of air. The sound of the dog door opening and closing. My big-ass mean dogs have figured it out. They must have watched from the glass door and ran around the house looking for a way in and found it. As I am seeing stars and about to see all black, my dog jumps over and grabs the girl's arm by his teeth and starts tearing it to shreds. And at this moment, the guy sees she's in trouble and starts to get up, which surprises me since he's lost a lot of blood, like pools and pools of blood. But before he gets the chance, my second dog walks up and starts growling, and I walk, pick up my machete and say, "Don't fucking move." I yelled to them in the bathroom that I called the police. I really had not, so I grabbed my phone off the kitchen table and rang the police. The whole time I never told my dog to stop. I wanted that bitch to die. I did not care. She almost killed me. The bitch deserved it, and still to this day, I believe so. When the police got there, they arrested both of them and had me come out to a cop car to call my parents while they took pictures and did an investigation. My parents showed up crying and so worried. They drove me to the hospital where I found out the worst of my injuries. I had 2 broken ribs, sprained wrist and foot, broken nose, cuts and bruises all over my body, and 3 broken fingers. I stayed in the hospital for 4 days, and right before I was released, the cops who came to my house that night came to visit me for a follow-up. Now, the couple, yes, they were boyfriend and girlfriend, would wander neighborhoods looking for for-sale signs and stalk the houses till someone moved in, then stalk them longer to know when everyone left and how many people lived there. I guess they didn't realize that I didn't go with my family that night, or thought there were only 4 people in my family, and clearly didn't realize I had 2 big dogs. Once they felt they knew the setup, they would break in, except in my case, walk in and raid the place for money and anything to pawn. They were also wanted for kidnapping, assault, and battery with a deadly weapon, burglary, and drug charges. I wish I could say they went away for decades, but no, they both got 5 years. After I got out of the hospital, my dogs got new beds, toys, treats, and all the love I could give them. They saved my life, and I am forever grateful for them. I couldn't imagine what would happen if 1. My bedroom door wasn't locked, 2. If I didn't have my dogs, and 3. If I wasn't a doomsday prepper. I'm pretty sure they had something bad planned for me. So, weird druggy couple that likes to rob newly moved in families and attack girls together and kidnap and kill them. Let's not meet ever again. For your own sake, not mine. Hey guys, thank you all for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that subscribe button and join the Nightmare Army. I'm always looking for new soldiers in my Nightmare Nation. So guys, I hope you all enjoyed the video, and I want to give a big thank you to the subscribers that submitted their stories. Thank you guys so much, and I really hope you're doing better from these experiences, especially the spider bite one and the Home Alone nightmare. That's terrifying. I'm not gonna lie, when I was reading that story, the Home Alone one, I was like, oh my god, that is horrifying. That's like I don't know, that girl was 21, but when I was a kid, when I was like maybe 11 or 12 maybe, I don't know, that was like my biggest nightmare. Being home alone and then having 2 people come into your house that you don't know is just terrifying. And the movie theater one, that's creepy. I mean, like, you know, we go to the movies a lot, like, you know, all the time. Just imagine if you're sitting in the movie theater and there is a creepy fucking guy watching the movie with you that has other motives other than watching the movie. That's some scary shit. That's some really scary shit right there. But anyways, guys, I hope you all have a great hump day. Anybody ever missed that camel on the football network where he used to go, hump day, whoop whoop? I'm sorry, guys, I'm acting a little goofy tonight. Really long day, like always. Well, guys, again, thank you all for watching, and just remember, the best ideas always come out of nightmares.